right, 3, 2, 1.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And
hey, and I'm Ron.
Yes,
not that Ron, I'm a different Ron.
A different Ron, yes. Special guest joining us, family at this point.
Right.
Ron H, okay? Now, our Ron from the Spot Real Talk is out this week on vacation, enjoying himself, and it's much deserved.
Much deserved.
Yes, I hope he's out enjoying himself. So if you notice that things look a little different this time around, it's because, Ron usually does production for the show, and he is out. So me and Tiffany are taking the reins on this one.
Yeah, we're holding him down.
Yes, so if things look little different, like I said, don't worry about it. Just ignore it.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
Go with it. And also make sure that you click the button down in the lower corner to subscribe to this channel. That is very important to keep things going for us. Subscribe, like the video, and make sure you click that notification bell as well. And so now I think we can go ahead and jump into the meat of, why we're here. We are talking Raising Kanan today. This was season 2, episode 7, and it was titled No Love Lost. A lot going on this episode. Some things we predicted,
We did.
It's like we on path for some of our predictions coming true again.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the stuff that we called out, we can talk about Jukebox since the episode opened with her. We knew that she was still, reeling from Nicole's situation, and I'm glad that they brought that back up because we hadn't really gotten to see her touch on that again. So we can see she's still hurting, going to visit the grave site. And I really love that Nicole's dad popped up, and he wasn't being a hater like the mom.
You know what? It basically confirmed what I was saying, because you can see the tenderness in his eyes, when remember when Jukebox, after Nicole died, and he found her in the room and he was like, you have to go. And when he saw how broken Juke was, you can see that the compassion in his eyes. I knew all along. I was like, it's his wife tripping.
Yes, she's Karen for real.
Yeah, she's Karen.
So, and I guess that's caused the parents to divorce because he was like, we don't see the world the same way. So they are going their separate ways as well. But I still think the mother is going to pursue some legal action. She's still going to Karen. Karen's going to Karen.
Karen's going to Karen.
So I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the end of it. And, when he mentioned that tape that that Nicole and Jukebox have recorded, and we got to see later on in the episode that Jukebox got that tape repaired and returned it to his doorstep. I'm like, uh-oh. I hope, mom don't get a hold of that and try to use it against Jukebox at some point later on. So
yeah, I don't think I was thinking about that too. I'm thinking maybe it won't become a big deal, but what I do think comes out of it is, they keep giving us little crumbs and nuggets of things that possibly lead to something, because we're all wondering, well, at some point, foreshadowing, how does Juke become a cop? Where does this go? How does it get here? And having somebody like him in her corner is another person that could help her transition to a different lifestyle. So yeah, it's interesting.
That's a really good point. It's interesting that you say that, because the thing that I was talking to my son about, I don't want to get too far ahead of Tiara, but it ties into your point about Jukebox. When I saw Howard visit, Jukebox and Burke have a relationship. It's got at least an understanding, because Burke was the one that gave her the address of how to find her mom. I can see Jukebox saying to Burke, saying like, well, how are things going with that investigation, into Nicole's death? And because I saw your partner visit, and that will get Burke's antennas up. I think she could accidentally let Burke know that because Howard is clearly trying to line Burke up now that he knows what she's doing.
Yes, that's a good point too. And I definitely want to talk about Detective Burke in a second, because she is on my hands list. But to tie this whole jukebox thing up still, I think you're right about that. And I think you were also right when you called it a couple episodes ago that the church would start to influence her sexuality and how she feels about being homosexual or not. Because when she was up in that Bible study, pastor was bringing all the points out about what the Bible says about alternative lifestyles and homosexuality and things like that, and what you do in your bedroom. And it seems like it's influenced her because she started, giving Corey a little bit more play. He was pushing up on her and she wasn't brushing him off like she was before. She actually went on a date with him.
Well, I think the deal is I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add that, as she was talking to Corey, you could see her looking back at Kenya, kind of looking for her approval. So I think she's doing it for her mom, not because she's genuinely interested, although I do think she might, start to soften up towards him.
I agree. And that was the point I was going to make. I think that basically she wants her mom's approval so badly, she's trying to get connected with her, that she's trying to please her. She doesn't want her mother to reject her again. So so she's trying to be straight. But you saw after homeboy kissed her, she wiped this kiss off. I was like, yeah, she's not feeling it.
That's not her speed. She ain't rocking with it. But and that's it. And it's a different day and age too. Like things are very different nowadays. Maybe nowadays people are a little bit more open to being on both levels, right? But back then it was like you was what you was, and that was it. It wasn't too much of that. Rarely, but I'm saying, and it definitely wasn't accepted. So she's definitely Juke is, man, I feel bad. Juke has got the roughest road throughout everybody, I think.
Yeah, especially with Marvin approaching her this week and, pretty much being upset with her for trying to reestablish a relationship with her mother. And he pretty much is still hurt from the fact that she abandoned them. And now he's projecting onto Jukebox, basically saying, she's self-centered. She's not really going to continue to be there for you like you think she will be. Which I'm like, I don't know. I know Marvin is hurt and he's upset about it. He should have gone further down the line with trying to repair his bond with Juke. Because I thought when he was getting ready to leave and he kind of stopped and turned around, I thought he was going to address, the elephant in the room and say, I'm really sorry again for what I did to you. I really want to try to repair things. But he took a left turn and just started going off about Kenya. So I'm like, you gotta make the bed before you can attempt to, lay in it again. And he still has a lot of mess going on between him and Juke. And I'm like, you gotta address this better than you have already.
Absolutely. He needs to apologize first and foremost. But I do think he has a point though. I think what he was saying about Kenya is true. And I think that Kenya is gonna end up letting Juke down. She might surprise us. But I think she is. And I think that when he told her, he was legitimately trying to warn her and not really trying to put a pin in her sails or anything like that. I think he was trying to warn her.
But again, it's the messenger, not the message.
It is the messenger. But she was listening though. You see, if you looked at the look on Juke's face, I was like, she received it. Even if it was from Marvin, it was like, okay, I'm going to put this in my mental Rolodex and file it away for another day.
Yeah, I do agree.
And I was going to say, I think that I don't know. There's been no inkling of this yet, and Power likes to throw you curveballs. I wouldn't be surprised because right now, when you look at Juke's mother, outside of her walking away from Marvin and leaving Juke to follow her dreams and aspirations, and then it blowing up on her, her current character looks great. You don't see any negatives with her,
right?
And I don't know if that's how Power moves. You know what I mean? It's a tough choice to leave your child and for all these years and do your own thing. And, obviously she regretted it. But the fact that she's coming back into it, I just don't know if Power in the writing is going to let her off that easy. So I wouldn't be surprised if she continues to cultivate Juke and work with her. And then eventually the bombshell drops that she tries to live her dreams through Juke in the music business. She tries to get her back out there in it. And that changes the aspect of Juke's, perception of her mother's connection. It's not about me and the love for me and you connecting. It's about living through me, because you see that, the mistakes you may have made, you can correct and right those wrongs with me and go from there. So that's what I'm thinking. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't put it past power.
That would definitely be interesting. I still think it's going to come down to the deal breaker is going to be
the sexuality.
Because she's just trying to people please right now. And I think
Right.
I think
that is,
I am who I am, accept it or not.
And she's trying to mold her into a nice young lady. I mean, she's a nice young lady, but I'm just saying, just her appearance, having her in dresses, and Juke is dressing more feminine and stuff. So she's trying to be everything that her mother wants her to be. So yeah, I'm gonna be upset if she hurts Juke.
Right.
I'm gonna be mad.
Now, I wanted to shift gears to talk about another parental bond that got broken this week. Palomar. That woman is off the chain.
She on the hands list.
Relentless. She is definitely on the hands list. She is definitely a predator.
Yes, so, she's a predator.
Yeah, she definitely was laying it on thick for Kanan. And as a young, teenage boy, it's hard to resist something like that. I mean, she's a good-looking woman. And even though he's trying to use his better judgment, she is persuasive. So, and she trifling too. I mean, you do that to your daughter, stealing her boyfriend. I mean, this is a Jerry Springer moment. It really is.
That is statutory rape, because how old is Kanan? He's like 15 on the show, right? He's 15 or 16. Either way, he's a minor. He's a minor.
Right. And he's sleeping with him, but we know she gave him the gun. He was trying to do the right thing this week and return it. And she's just a horrible influence. I mean,
well, did you see the previews for next week? And that was the other prediction I said. I said, when Rock finds out, she gonna step to her, and she had the gun to that chick's head in the previews for next week. And I told my son, I said, I would have pulled up on her too. If that happened to my child, I would have slid for real.
Yes, indeed. Rock is definitely checking her. Stay away from my son.
Right.
Yeah. So, let me see if I could channel the other Ron. What would Ron say? Well, let me tell you, man. At a young age like that, I mean, Kanan, I mean, what you gonna do?
Right. Well, you know what? I think a lot of men say that because I was going back and forth with my own son about that. He was like, well, you got to think, Bob, sometimes back in that age, young people got married at that age and stuff. And I say, yeah, but it was consensual and stuff. I mean, and sometimes they were the same. I just, no.
It was way different too, because I think a lot of men, that was their fantasy of like being with an older woman, fantasizing about your teacher or stuff like that, And even though it's not that scenario, like to be with an older woman, that's like a notch on your belt, back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Were not viewed like as predatory. I think they weren't viewed as predators necessarily. I mean, I know for men, it's always been like,
men, young guys, it's a fantasy for them. But I know, back when I was in high school, I had a teacher that did that and messed around with one of the students.
You remember in Juice, Omar messing with the older woman too. I think it was more accepted back then.
Well, listen, the teacher at my school got fired. She got in trouble because first of all, he was flossing too. He was driving her car.
He did too much.
And the parents found out, and it hit the fan, and the parents went to the school, and that chick got fired. Because he was, he was a minor and all that. So she was a predator.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing if like Kanan is dating the daughter, which that's a weird relationship they got, because they don't really look like boyfriend and girlfriend. They have that moment, but you don't really see. I don't know. That's a young person's perception. I like when he referred to her as his, or as his being him, the boyfriend to her. That's what he said. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if I saw that, but it's tough because not only do you have such a wild situation, like the dynamic between the mother and daughter is crazy, and she's been giving him rhythm. Ooh, See, I did a throwback word there, rhythm. She's been giving him rhythm all this time, and she's bad too. It's hard for him. Like, he a young, impressionable, Kanan's impressionable.
Yeah, I
Listen.
expect him to resist. He tried his best though. And the other thing about Palomar is, like, you're not only sleeping with your daughter's boyfriend and damaging, like, that relationship between them two, but you're also, like, beating down on her self-esteem. Like, oh, you're gonna have to learn how to keep a man at some point. And I'm like, okay, now this is something else. Like, for real, she's really out of control as a parent. She should not have children.
No,
It's wild. It's wild. I mean, some people might look at this and say, damn, Power, the writing is kind of crazy. Like, who's going, but there are some people out there like this.
Yes.
So
yeah. And I know Corinne, she was trying to get back when she went and snitched to Rock. So I'm wondering if Kanan is now going to be upset with Corinne for snitching on him. Because once Palomar stops giving him play, he's gonna wonder why. And I think he's going to point to Corinne, like, what did you do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I think he's gonna know sooner than that, because in the clip I saw, Rock was like, "You got something to tell me?" So yep. I think she gonna pull up on Kanan too, and he's gonna have no choice but to, to come clean. If he doesn't, she gonna tell him what she knows.
Right. Yeah, that was something else. I also thought it was interesting how Symphony, came and told Kanan that he was getting ready to leave town this week. So I know Symphony, he's gotten a new gig and he's excited about it, but like Kanan was very perceptive when he said, you wouldn't have told me if you didn't want my mom to know.
Right.
And so of course, when Rock goes, we got to get into that too. It's so much going on in this episode. I'm trying not to skip all over the place, but we know that Rock, rolls up on Symphony at the end, and she looking like she want to take him out. And I'm like, oh, please don't do this, Rock. Please don't.
Me too. I was like, wait a minute, you gonna slide on Symphony, but you find out that Scrap wasn't the CI. You ain't slide on his mom. There's so many other people you can slide on right now.
Yes, but Detective Howard put it in her head, like, is your boy going, rat? Is he good? Mm-hmm. And so I think that, he put that little bug in her ear and got her kind of paranoid. Like, do I take out this threat right now, or do I let it ride? And I'm kind of glad she did, because Symphony doesn't deserve that. I think he stood, to keep his mouth shut. He did good with Detective Burke when she rolled up on him, and he was generous by telling Rock, like, this happened, I didn't say anything. He didn't have to tell Rock about that at all. No, so I think that shows trustworthiness on his part. So Rock, I think that's why I stopped her.
And he's leaving, so it's not like they'll be able to pull up on him again. I mean,
well, I don't know if you were listening, as they do the voiceover with, older Kanan talking, and he's kind of voicing the moment over and saying, no matter where you go, your problems follow you.
Well, that's true. If the FBI get involved, if the feds get involved.
Right. So that's why, I don't know if this is a done deal with Symphony leaving town. Once you listen to that voiceover, you kind of like, dang, I hope it doesn't happen, but they're making it seem likely.
Yeah, and go ahead, Tiffany. No, I was just gonna say, I understand he cares about Rock and maybe even loves her. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would have told anybody anything. I think I would have just peaced out. You know what, Kanan? If I want to talk to Kanan, I'll call him. Hey, I just want to let you know I left. I got a new gig somewhere else. But I care about you. If you ever need me, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll give him the digits. You can call me for whatever, but I'm not going to be around no more. That's it. And tell your mother, take care. I'm out.
He has feelings for her. I think he didn't want to leave on a bad note in case they ever meet up again in the future. Because then Rock would be like, oh, so you peaced out, you went out of town, and you ain't say nothing. Like, it would automatically be bad blood between them. And I think he's hopeful that they can be cordial at least at some point in the future.
I think he's too, like, his character. First off, I mean, I guess we're all wrong about him possibly being a Fed. So it is what it is. But I think his character is so naive. I think the love trumps all and kind of clouds his judgment a little bit. but he's even witnessed Rock not turn on him, but say certain things that are cold-blooded towards him. Like,
Yeah.
I thought you cared about me, but the way you talk is like I'm any dude off the street. I could be anybody.
Crazy.
At some point, you got to say to yourself, whoa, okay, let me think about what's going on here. And if you needed a wake-up call, you just got it with the cop, with Burke pulling up on him. Okay, Burke just pulled up on me. She asked me some questions. If I do want to speak to Rock about this, I got to let her know, but I also know who Rock is. Rock paranoid. Rock always saying certain things. You know what? I'm not going to meet Rock in person. I'll give you a call, Rock, tell you what happened. I'm out. I just want to let you know. Watch your back.
And I think that's what he was trying to do when he told her. I think he was just trying to let her know so she can watch her back. But the thing is this, the reason why he decided to dead it, and I was having the same conversation with my son, was when she can never tell the truth. Like when, you know, he's given her several opportunities. Like when they went to look at the house and he said, you know, what happened the night that that I had to take Kanan out of town. Oh, I was just protecting my son. He knew she was lying. After that, he was just like, pretty much, don't call me no more and stuff. And this time, when he was going to go out of town, when he said, you know, I'm good with your secrets. She said, I don't got no secrets. He was like, see you later. Because it's like, okay, it's done. Like this woman, I love this woman, but she just continues to lie. You know, so he knows that there can't be a future.
Exactly. I mean, Rock is something else. Even Detective Howard called her out on that this week. He was like, you know, what you gonna do when Kanan realizes about all your mistakes and lies? So I mean, it's something else, you know, with Rock. She doesn't seem to think she can do any wrong. But I don't know. I think that she's definitely bold this week. I'll say that, because Rock is meeting with Cartier and she's seen him talking with this new guy, Tremont, who obviously works for Cartier and is running his distro in the DMV area, you know. And she goes and does a very snaky move, you know, because I don't know if she knows or cares about how big Cartier is and how connected he might be. She still snaked them and tried to take Tremont from underneath him, offering better product at a cheaper price, or a better price, so she says. And you know, he's like, I don't really know you like that, but she's like, I know about you. So I'm like, well, how much does she really know about him? You know, because he was right in asking her, how do you know I wouldn't just run back and tell Cartier? I mean, that's a possibility. And then that bond could be damaged and she could cut herself out of, you know, possibly expanding. But she's already gone to Joaquin and kind of leaked that information a little early. Like, you know, Juliana was telling her she's not really too keen on her linking back up with Unique. And she's like, look, this is a means to an end. I'm working on a bigger play to expand. So you've already put that bug in Joaquin's ear. Now he has a higher expectation for the future. So if that falls through, you're screwed. That's how Rock is making some ballsy moves that I don't know if she should be speaking on them before they come to fruition.
Right. You know what? This was a classic power episode, like that we've seen in other iterations of power. This was the consequences of everybody's actions episode. Because like sometimes you see it happen to a certain character, like on Kanan, they haven't really hit us with one of these where you're noticing a lot of different characters, the consequences of their actions and how it's coming back on them. We see, you know, what Rock is doing and the situation that's happening with that. We see the situation with Lou, which I'm not gonna, we'll get into it, I'm sure. But you know, then you see Kanan's situation. It may not be his fault altogether. He got whooped, but the point is he did something right with moms, and then now, you know, the daughter went and told Rock. We got to see how that goes, what that turns into, and then I think there was and we got to get into that too, I'm sure. Marvin, like the consequences of setting up certain things that he didn't need to do. He did it because of his own feelings, how he felt about the situation. We see what's happening from that. So this whole episode was about the consequences of your actions.
And I think a lot of people biting off more than they can chew. I think they really think that I think it's a little arrogance in there. In each
Mm.
part of these characters, you see it. And I'll add to your list, Detective Howard. He gets the hands for me this week for, like you said, assuming that Scrap was the CI. Now he's responsible for getting him killed.
That's
Yeah,
rough.
he is.
Like I said, biting off more than you can chew here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and just another one, just throwing it in there. Rock too. It was the right thing to do, but letting Symphony live might come back.
Yep, it might come back.
I mean, I think she loves him. That's why I think, because you know that situation I thought about with Ghost and Angela, because
Mhm.
you know in season 2, that when once Tommy told him who he was, who Angela was, he was thinking about killing Angela. I mean, he was looking at the gun in the car and stuff, but when he got there, at the end of the day, he loved that woman, and he was not going to kill her. And I think you know when it came down to it, Brock was going to do it, but she couldn't do it because she loved that man.
Love stopped him from leaving without telling her. Love stopped her from killing him. So it's like they really do care about each other. There's a genuine bond there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that love might have some consequences. They always say in this game you can't have permanent ties to anybody. So we'll see how that plays out. And then you know we kind of touched on Detective Burke, but I want to hop back on that because she's going even a little bit further and investigating Detective Howard and going into his file to get information. And we're kind of getting some color, which we kind of had an idea about Detective Howard and Rock's relationship back in the 70s or whatever. But now we kind of learned that she was his CI, which I was like, wow. So, you know, I didn't think Rock would be the kind to be a CI, but
well, you know what?
She was younger, so maybe
she was young. And but remember what she told Jukebox when Juke was saying that she had, you know, that Detective Burke and stuff, and Rock said something like, you know, sometimes you can use the police or something like that. She last season she gave Juke that advice and everything. So
that kind of hinted at it for sure. Yeah, but we got to hear it straight out the horse's mouth this week. You know, it came straight out the file. And Howard is kind of confident that Burke won't be able to put 2 and 2 together and figure it out, which she kind of is doing. She's putting it together in terms of how the relationship in that family came about. But the thing she can't connect is how it ties in with the shooting. And I think that they're not giving her enough credit because she's persistent. And that persistence will lead her in the right direction. So they shouldn't underestimate her. And I like how Adina, the chick she's interested in, you know, she tried to check her. She's like, you are not internal affairs. Right. You know, but Burke is persistent. And that persistence has landed her on my who can get the hands list because she's annoying. And she's definitely going to get herself into a situation that, like I said, biting off more than you can chew. She's going to get taken out.
One thing that I would like to add about the Howard thing, I don't really think he underestimates Burke. I think he knows that she's getting close from the moves that he's making. I think that he didn't want to tell Rock that because Rock is a killer and he knows that Rock will slide on her, and this is a cop and a white cop at that. So I think he told Rock that because he didn't want to tip his hand. I think he figures I'm gonna handle this myself.
Just like she was kind of lying about Symphony being good, he was lying about Burke being under control too.
Right, because he's like, I'm gonna handle this.
Yeah, they were both bluffing.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't know who that cop was, but the cop who was overhearing what Burke was talking about with the evidence guy or whatever his name is. I don't know. The records dude.
He was ear hustling.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, at first I thought like he's just a person that they got to watch because he could blow up everything. You know how people talk. But no, you can't underestimate the fact that what she is doing is acting like internal affairs. And cops don't like other cops digging into them. One. And secondly, Howard is a super cop in a lot of cops' eyes. Like he still can't do no wrong. So, yeah, I don't know.
He has a lot of juice in, with the cops and in the community. So I don't doubt that man is going to tell him.
He playing with fire, and you can already see in the previews for next week he going to the captain. You know, she's already on captain's ish list, so it ain't gonna be a good look for Detective Burke. If she don't get killed, she gonna get fired, and hopefully she don't turn into a Greg Knox where she's still investigating even though she's been relieved of her duties.
Right, right. And I think that's what Howard is trying to do. He's trying to take her down to get her off his back, but he doesn't want her to be taken out. Like you said, that's why he doesn't want to tell Rock too much about it. But he is going to hurt her and try to derail her.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because that's why I think he went to see Nicole's dad.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. As I said, he's lining her up.
Yeah, for sure. And I think because like earlier, I think it was last season when the parents were in there trying to get the police to investigate further, I think the father had a role too, or at least the mother was the prominent person in that situation. But I think, like you said, Burke, Howard is trying to line it up so that the father can say this detective is going too far. So that's going to be interesting to see play out as well. I want to see all of these storylines come together, you know, and I think we're going to see it, especially what you guys mentioned earlier about Jukebox maybe intervening or having a conversation with Burke too. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And so I want to get into another topic here. I wanted to switch gears and talk about Lulu, because I think he did not expect all of this stuff to happen as a result of killing Crown. So now his Crown's debtor, or people that Crown owes are coming after Marvin. You know, this studio is our business. You know, Crown's business is your business. Your business is gonna be our business. And I think he should have considered all that was going to be happening after killing Crown. So now he got to deal with it.
Now, I know that Crown had debts, but do you guys think that Cartier could have orchestrated some of that too, so that he can muscle his way into the
Well, they mentioned some guy Linton Manley, and so
yeah. I mean, we knew that Crown owed people money. We knew that he did. But Zisa also works for Cartier. She saw that Luke killed.
Seemed unbothered.
She seemed very unbothered. She seemed very unbothered. But Cartier is also her manager. You know, I don't know, because he came with the like, I can help you, but I need Crown's half. So
you know what? I wasn't even thinking that.
So Crown know he owed debts, and Cartier's probably knew he owed debts.
Yeah.
But you know, who's to say he ain't? You know, he might have just seized the opportunity, but who's to say he didn't orchestrate that?
That's interesting.
When Cartier was talking with Lulu later on in the episode, he was kind of saying, I'm assuming Crown isn't around anymore. Why would you assume that? I think he knows. Well, of course he knows. Of course he knows. But I think that it all played into his hands. I think you are absolutely correct in thinking that he orchestrated this. And as we can see, like, you know, Cartier put the hands on Tremont. He came up out the out the restaurant looking busted and beat up with the bruised eye. So Cartier is not clean. You know, his hands ain't clean. And so I would not put it past him to have orchestrated this. And the fact that Zisa was like, any other woman would have been like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, she would have been shaken up by the fact that you just got ran up on like that. And she was kind of just in the corner chilling. So.
And like they're doing their due, getting busy, whatever. All this stuff just happened. He just got hit with a curveball, finding out that Crown's got these other issues that now are my issues. And she's like, well, you didn't finish. I'm like, what?
Finished.
I was like,
right.
okay.
I was like, oh, she's gangster. That's why I'm saying. I was like, watch Zisa. I was like, her and Cartier probably in cahoots. And stuff. And you know, I don't know, because even when we saw further in the episode, when Cartier was in there, I don't know, it looks like Lou looked like he was bothered. Oh Lord, what else? What did I get myself into? Like he was already feeling that way with Crown, and then now he has another partner that he's kind of like.
Well, look, he about to have a problem with Rock because he went up into that crack house and took all of that money out unaccounted for. So he's disrupting the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, if you took all of that money, I don't know how much he took. I doubt that it was the full amount, because we seen he still had to go to Cartier for money.
Mhm.
So I'm like, Rock is not going to be pleased with the fact he already didn't ask to borrow money. Now this week you just straight up taking it. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
he's fitting himself for a toe tag. Yeah, he got a little too much going on right now.
I
Not
said
looking
the same
good.
thing. It isn't. That's the same thing my son and I talked about. I was like, "Ooh, this season it's not looking good for Lou." Like, I'll be really surprised if he make it out of this season, but we'll see.
Yeah, you know what? It's just there's so many different things. Like Lou moves, he doesn't move smartly. And it's crazy because when we first got introduced to his character, he seemed, cold-blooded. He seemed like he was the voice of reason when it came to things. He looked at things and saw maybe something that the obvious person wouldn't see. But this season, it don't look like he moves that way.
Well, some of the things he did tell her, like he told her Jersey was a bad move with the Italians and stuff, and he tried to smooth things over, and then she was like, "Don't apologize for me," blah blah blah. And you see, they tried to kill her, and she ended up having to make peace anyway. So Lou did call. He called that first, and then he told her he vouched for Scrap. He was like, Scrap is a soldier; he would not snitch. So there was a couple times that he told her, like even when he said we don't really need Jersey. I mean, he and Marvin was saying that and stuff. So there was a couple times that they did give her sound counsel. She just didn't heed it.
You know what it is? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say maybe he does better at counseling other people, but not necessarily counseling himself, because that advice towards Rock was on point. But taking his own advice and applying it in his line of business don't seem to work for him.
Right. That could be the case too. Because I think he definitely spots surface stuff. Some things, like, just by his experience and what he sees when something doesn't look like a good situation, but he's not detail oriented. He don't go into, like, you trying to take over, not take over, but if you're trying to get into the music industry, first off, you want to try to read books, whatever it is you want to, I don't care what it is, you want to read up or get some type of knowledge about the industry to see how the industry moves. That's fine. That's off the top. The other thing is, you in business with a guy who is a snake. You already know Crown is a certain way, and he acts, why wouldn't I want to find out about his books? I'm a part of the business. And eventually, I would assume that Lou always knew eventually he was going to take over that business from Crown, right? So you would think you would want to know everything about the business that Crown has his hands in. What if Crown owes taxes? I got to pay them taxes. Like, certain things you got to look into.
It's because he's trying to treat the music industry like the streets. He's trying to strong arm his way into that industry, not realizing it don't work like that. It's a whole nother world. You can't take, I mean, there's some transferable skills, but for the most part, you got to know your stuff. And it's like, even in the streets, like, he knows surface stuff, like you said, but he's not really on it like he should be.
Right.
So it's not faring well for him. Tiff, you got something?
I was just going to say, it was interesting, Ron's point, because it made me think about The Wire, because it very similar when Stringer Bell was trying to get away from the game, trying to do real estate and everything, and he started trusting this councilman, this politician, and he didn't know the ropes. He was paying all this money and trying to buy his way into legitimacy. And he ended up getting taken by the politician. And I feel like Lou was kind of in a similar position. Like you said, he didn't bone up on the industry and how to get it. He was kind of like the money man, and he was learning as we go. But he was getting played too by Crown.
Yep. That's a great point. Good comparison too. So
yeah, definitely. Oh, the other thing I was going to say before I forget from before was just that, remember when he was on the show and he was talking about his role as, on Cartier, as Cartier. He was giving us the nuggets, letting us know that, Cartier ain't no gangster.
Yeah.
So what he is, though, seems to be a master at manipulation. He is like, that is his, and that's why I'm buying into the whole thing that's a setup. I'm buying his whole persona, I think, is fake, but he plays it up well, and he knows he can get by doing certain things. I don't think if you put him in the real crosshairs of some situations where the gun's got to come out, I don't think he's that guy.
Right.
But all of this leading up to that, he's playing all the cards, pushing, and I think Rock already knows that. That's why she made her little comment about insubordination and seeing how he acts towards it, because he talks a good game, but I don't think she believes he's all that, and that's why she went behind his back and tried to get old boy and cut a deal with him.
Well, he was locked up the next time she saw old boy, though.
Right, because he knows who he's doing it to. You can only do this to certain people. Somebody else is going to test you. He ain't going to do, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's not going to do it to a different type of person. So it's interesting, though.
But he did say on the show that he was dangerous. Because I asked him, Omar Dorsey, I said, is he dangerous? He said, yeah, he's dangerous.
Dangerous, not a gangster. Maybe he
he kept saying he's not a gangster. So I don't know.
That's right. There's different ways of being dangerous too. You can be shrewd and conniving and still be dangerous.
Right.
So that's a good point. If you guys have not checked out our interview with Omar Dorsey yet, you need to do that immediately. He gave us so much game on his character in this show. So definitely a lot of little clues in there that can help lead you into the path of understanding what could happen with his character. So yeah, that was a great point.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. One more thing before I forget, Tiara. The other thing is, another reason why I say that Lou is fitting himself for a toe tag. How you gonna give somebody half of a half when you don't even know you don't have it? Crown made a deal with Rock. So Lou's supposed to have half, Crown had half, then Crown made a deal with Rock, right? And now he's supposed to be giving Cartier half of Crown's half, which belongs to Rock, I'm assuming. I don't know. This whole thing is a little confusing, but I think this is all bad.
But did he and Rock ever legitimize that? They talked about it, and then she got a call, and then Rock dismissed Crown. So did they ever get as far to legitimize that deal?
Right.
And I don't think it really matters, because if Rock says to Lou, listen, Crown gave me part of this business, what he gonna do?
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point that you just pointed out. Yeah, it could get sticky. It could definitely get sticky. So Lou it's not looking good for him, unfortunately. It's also not looking good for Marvin, because his vendetta against Tony has now unraveled a whole chain of events that has gotten so messy, and he's about to get caught up so bad. We know that he has talked to this guy Marco, and he's basically soliciting him to go out and be a hitman for $5,000. Get Tony, take her out. It's a done deal for her. Of course, Marvin is being short-sighted and not understanding what could be the consequences of these actions. All right, so this dude Marco goes over to Warrell and to Unique to get some information on Marvin. They vouch for him, so he goes through with it. Now his stupid butt gets old Goofy from the Catskills episode to be his accomplice.
How does he still have a job? I thought he was done for after he messed up at the Catskills.
He should have been done for, because if he ain't done for, then he definitely gonna be after screwing up with Marco, because he done hit the wrong person and killed, his partner's son. And that we know in that Italian kind of mob type structure, you can't do that. Those family structures are serious. They take that very seriously. So he's right for hiding out in the coop on top of the roof.
Blame the brother. It's gonna come back on Marvin, and I talked about that, and he was like, and Unique is gonna hold that over Marvin's head, because I thought about the same thing that happened in OG Power with Tommy, when Tommy hired what's his face, his godson to try to get Dre, and then they got killed.
Yep.
That was on Tommy, and Teresi had to tell him, like, now you got to make good. So yep. I feel like either way, even though it was Goofy's fault that he killed Marco, but because Marvin did a side deal with the son and it went sideways, I feel like that's gonna fall back on Rock and their team.
Oh yeah, in the next episode, you can see the Italian boss coming up to Unique like, I want to know who's responsible. And of course, Unique goes to Marvin, and like you said, he's definitely holding it over his head. He's like, the dentist survived, and he's talking, which he is. So you can't leave survivors. I mean, old boys,
And
Goofy
he
got
a racist. He a
racist.
racist, so he gonna be like that black guy.
It's gonna come back.
Mhm.
Everything is going to come back on Marvin at the end of the day, and it's sad too because it seemed like Marvin was just getting it together. He got through his anger management. Things were looking up for him, and he's
He
about
got
to be.
Renee's number.
Yeah, I mean, everything was on the up and up, and he goes off and does this stupid thing because he can't let Tony go. It's sad.
Yeah, and see,
This one makes no sense. This one makes no sense. Like like Tony's living her life, got no. It's not like she's rubbing it in his face. They haven't seen each other. There's no
she
reason for this.
snitched on him and he went to jail.
Yeah, I know. He never got to get back.
That's what I told Ron, because Ron was like, I think he wants to hit it again. I said, Ron, he is trying to kill that girl. It ain't about no intimacy at all. He wants to. The fact is, she was a rat. She was a CI, and she put Marvin in the bang, and he wanted revenge for that. That's what all this was about.
You got to weigh the opportunity cost, though.
Yeah.
You're killing somebody who is not even in your day-to-day life anymore. Like, come on, Mark, you got to weigh the opportunity cost. And clearly that anger management did nothing for him to still be pursuing this. So it's wild. It's really wild.
I mean, if anything, he could have got her back some other way. He could have set somebody, he could have paid a working girl or somebody, whatever, to do something with the dentist, or he could have set something up where it just it could have been anything. Set something up to get her out of the picture with the dentist.
Exactly.
But I mean, he took it to the next level.
He was concerned because when he was trying to do stuff, the way the police were on him every time he was there, and because she married a rich white man, she's white, and he was sticking out like a sore thumb when he was there, clearly to the police. So I think he just was like, it'll be easier for another white person to go and have access and do this. So
it was just very foolish, though. I mean, we seen Marvin making some progress this season, but he just completely reverted back to square one. I mean, that was the worst move he could have made. So all of this is coming down on his head, starting next episode, I think. And the fact that Unique, so Unique mentioned to Worrell, because Worrell was kind of saying like, oh, well, did you talk to Rock about moving these men around in New Jersey? And Unique is kind of like, I make my own calls. Rock is just an investor, but I'm thinking for myself here. And so the problem with that is Unique he's thinking 10 steps ahead, and Rock is also doing the same thing on her side. She's plotting on how she can get rid of him in a clean manner, and he's plotting on how he can get out from around her plans to do whatever she's trying to do. And so that's dangerous, because I think that Unique is now going to use the situation with Marvin against Rock. I think you just said that.
He's going to take the business back from Rock. Watch. By the end of this season, things going to come crumbling down for Rock. Crumbling down for her.
Yes, indeed. And the fact that Juliana is pissed about her linking up with Unique again, it does not help the situation. I think Juliana is a snake too. Like, she's going to do something. And you can see that they kind of sent Tremont sent his guy in to be a spy on Rock in that dinner, and to come back and give him information. So I don't know what Tremont is capable of yet. That's somebody we're gonna have to watch out for, because we haven't. I mean, we know he, is kind of he got punked by Cartier, but who is he really? I mean, is he the type that gets punked by everybody, or does he have a dark side as well? So
I was thinking, I'm sorry. I was thinking that he was trying to do his homework on her, because he probably is considering her offer to work for him, because nobody want to work for somebody putting their hands on him and stuff.
Right, but I mean, it might be a little bit worse, because you might be trading one evil for a bigger one.
He is.
But he don't know. I think the fact that Rock is a woman, people underestimate her dangerousness. So like, they kind of like, oh, she's a woman, it might be a safer bet, but like, no, she's more treacherous than anybody could be.
She's about to slide on her own boo. So it would be nothing to slide on Tremont.
Right. So they don't know who who he's dealing with. So I guess he's right for doing his homework, but I'm also not sure that what kind of person he is as well. So we're gonna have to see more about him. But it's all coming to a head. This is the 7th episode. We got 3 more to go, and so I think from here things continue to escalate every single week. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen next week, just because how they set us up this week with all of this meat to kind of chew on, and everybody is in a bind. Every single one of them are in a bind. So it's very interesting. I cannot wait to see what happens. You guys
I think
have
this is
predictions?
I think it's tough because you can go different directions with it. I do think that it is a very good chance that Lou is out of here by the season's end. But I hate to kind of think about what we've been told on the show. Because I know that relationship between Cartier and Lou is, but listen, it could be a lot going on in 3 episodes. They could have a good relationship in 3 episodes and Lou could still be out of here. So maybe he don't make it to another season. I don't know. I think a curveball would be, but I don't see it happening, would be for Marvin to get taken out.
I was going to ask you if you thought that was a possibility.
Yeah.
Because now that Marco done got killed, this is dicey.
I think he could land himself in jail for sure. Jail, or I don't like to see Marvin's character go, because he is kind of foolish in some regards, but he also provides the comic relief to the show.
Yes.
And I think that I want to see him evolve into a more, just not necessarily like slide, but I want to see him really level up to what Rock wants him to be, into a boss. But if he gets taken out beforehand, it can only be at his own stupidity. Like he's going to get himself caught up. I want to see more happen. I want him to clean up his relationship with Juke. But of course, if he doesn't clean that relationship up, that can be all the more reason why she turns dark later on in life. Like, my dad did me wrong, and then on top of that, he had an early demise and never tied up those loose ends with that could be the reason why she goes to the dark side as well. So I'm not gonna say you're wrong here.
That's a good point, though, because there could be a moment where Juke and Marvin reach an understanding and he's starting to get through to her and kind of show her that he's changing and working on himself. It leads me to what I was going to say earlier. Like, Marvin's character is what it is, and he's not going to handle things. He messes things up. He has good intentions sometimes, but he doesn't know how to handle himself and orchestrate things the right way. It would have been nice if he tried to appeal to Juke, but also talked about how he's working on himself. Yes, it's mandatory. I have to go to these counseling sessions because I'm on parole or whatever, but I'm learning something. They've told me these steps of how to deal with my anger. I'm trying these different things. I think it's helping me. I feel like a better person, and I want you in my life, and I'm trying to, show you that I'm here. I've messed up, but no matter what, I don't care. No matter what happens, I'm here for you. Like, appeal to her in a certain way. He didn't do it then. Maybe he'll still have a chance to do it. But I can see that happening where he does get it right, and she starts to really listen to him. And then because of his other actions and consequences, he gets taken out. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be very likely, even though I would hate to see it. It sounds like, that would be on par with the power verse.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Things come back around. Come back around.
Yeah.
I have one more. It's not a prediction, but do you think that, because Rock don't play, and we do know that Rock's going to step up to what's her name?
Palomar.
There you go, Palomar. Do you think Rock would put Kanan in the position to take Palomar out?
No, Wow.
I would not put it past her.
Because you know what? Because Rock is, she has a way about her, but she's also always trying to teach you a lesson,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't
You know
know.
what?
Good one. Oh, I didn't
Wow.
think about that.
I know, I didn't either.
But see, I think you could be right. I think what's gonna happen is Kanan's not gonna be able to leave that woman alone. And I think that she, like the threat from Rock, she might be the one that tries to stay away. But because we know she's so trifling, she probably gonna be like, oh, I can't resist it. She gonna try to sleep with him one more time. And I think Rock will catch wind. If she does get Kanan to take, Palomar out, this could be a turn because we've already seen Kanan getting a little more, man, like he's starting to man up a little bit more, starting to be a little more edgy and beat people up. And I think it's levels to it. So he's starting off assaulting people, fighting physically. He shot the dude last season by accident, but we haven't seen him doing an intentional kill yet. So this is part of it.
This would be interesting, and it'd be great. I'm thinking too much about it, but it'd be great if there was a backstory between Palomar and Rock somehow. Somehow, like this was all like it's being orchestrated because they have an issue of some sort. But,
yeah,
that would be interesting.
That definitely will shake things up. I was thinking too about this house that Rock got approved for this week. The realtor was kind of being racist again, talking about, well, are you going to be able to afford the upkeep? The HOA is so strict. They want this, and I think she was assuming that Rock wouldn't be able to afford to be upkeep her house in that community. And Rock was like, no, it's under control. I got that. So with them moving, how does that change things? Because Kanan has already expressed to Jukebox in the previews, he's like, I don't trust her. So now taking him out of the environment where he's close to friends and family and isolating him in the suburbs, how does that play out?
Well, one of the things that Rock said, when the realtor said, listen, the HOA is strict and they want to see that you have legitimate businesses with just cash. And you heard what Rock said. She said, oh, well, I have a label. I said, oh, Lord, she didn't claim Lou's label. She said, I have a label and this, and this. And when I was talking to my son and I, we were talking about, he was like, do you think they're all going to live in that house? And I was like, I don't know if they all should live there. I said, because to have all of them in one place would be dangerous. If the ops are after you, for y'all to all be in one spot, I don't think that's a good look.
No, not at all.
And that was what you just brought up, kind of points to something else too. That's how you know that Lou is going to be in a situation of confusion with this whole label thing, because it's one thing if Rock finds out, okay, they don't have, there's nothing in writing for nobody, but Crown is gone. Now Rock could just say, oh, well, Crown promised me this. Well, Crown's not here no more. I don't know what's what. But now that it is a need, now she needs to be in charge of that label. That's how you know. That's how you know. You know what I mean?
You just made me think about something though, because with Lou going and taking this money from Rock could use that as leverage. You're saying, like, you taking money from me, I'm taking your record label. You sitting out here swiping money off the top. I'm going to take this record label. It's mine. You owe me. You already asked me for money last week, and now you taking it. This record label is mine. Or either Crown's share is mine. We in business together. She could really strong arm him like that, because he is indebted to her, and he's doing stuff underhanded without letting her know. And Rock is the type that's not going to take that lightly. So she could really say, nah, this is mine. So it's really not looking good for Lou now that you say that. She really could take over that whole record label, or either just Crown's share of it, so that Lou doesn't even have half of it to offer to Cartier, like you said.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh. Y'all are on point today. I'm telling you. Y'all are on point.
It's a lot. That's tough. It's interesting. I like it. It's crazy.
I do too. This has been a good season. The storytelling is really good on Raising Kanan. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Next week, Lou is also rolling up with Zisa. So somebody that Crown was previously in business with, Lou is rolling up with a gun and saying, now you in business with me. So I don't know who this guy is or what he did, but it seems like a bad move on Lou's part again. So it's still not looking good there. And I think we kind of touched on the rest of the previews for next week. So, it's looking good. I can't wait to see it. You guys have anything else you want to add before we close out?
I think I threw out all my conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
I got them all out.
You had some good ones.
Thank you, but it could take so many different twists and turns. The one that I think is most far-fetched was the one about Jukebox's mother living her dreams vicariously through her. Like, that's something that could happen, but it would be a long-term thing that would have to play out. I think what you guys said is probably the really what's going to happen. It's the sexuality thing. I guess what threw me off a little bit is because we saw Marvin's contempt and hate for that type of same-sex thing.
Yep.
And a lot of us thought it pointed towards the mother and why she left. But it seems like that's not the case.
Yeah. Another thing that could happen too is a little curveball. Scrap's mom, she's pushing for the investigators to investigate his suicide. So that could be a curveball in the story that comes back up later on.
But that's what I'm saying about Rock. Howard told you that Scrap wasn't the CI. So the obvious point is that there's still a CI out there. So you're trying to slide on Symphony when there's a CI that's still out there. That's why I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and to me, Scrap's mom would have been the obvious choice. Like, she's running these card games and stuff. Just like, Rock is well aware of the card games and things going on. So if Scrap wasn't, then the logical next person in line would be his mother. So that's that. I think that's not the end of her. I think we're gonna see Rock and her have a run-in later on too. So
I think.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think that Rock, we see how Rock moves. She don't give too much care about a grieving mother. We saw that in the first season.
Absolutely correct.
She about to join Scrap.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seemed like that could be likely. You do not go up against Rock. So yeah, a lot of stuff could happen. I think I'm gonna close out now. I think we touched on majority of if not all, I think we covered this really well. So to all of our viewers, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Please drop down in the comment section and give us your thoughts on this episode and your predictions for the rest of the season. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to our channel, click the notification bell so you get alerted when we post, and also like this video. Why not? Come on now. Support the Spot Real Talk. We bring you great interviews, which, if you haven't checked out Omar Dorsey's interview, you need to do that. That's a great one that is related to Raising Kanan. And we might have some other stuff up our sleeve. You never know what the Spot is working on. So you don't want to miss it. Make sure you are tuned in, subscribed, and supporting us. That's how you can do it. Also, we are on all social media platforms, including Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all of those. So follow us there as well. We certainly appreciate all of you guys' support, and we don't take it for granted. So again, thanks. And hopefully next time we film, our Ron from the Spot Real Talk will be back with us, feeling well rested and rejuvenated and ready to go.
Well, I was going to say that Ron H also is a content creator that has his own YouTube channel. I know you know, talking about sports and specifically the Knicks and stuff. So we'll have to leave his YouTube information in our description box so you guys can follow him as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. And yes, I do have my own YouTube podcast channel called Still Knicks Fans. We cover the Knicks, and it's a great show. I have a great time doing it with my two friends, Jose and John. But I just want to say once again, thank you guys for having me. It's always fun when I can join Tiffany and Tiara and Ron, so we can do Ron each, Ron squared. but he's not here, and I know he's having a great time on
Yeah,
vacation.
on vacation. Yep.
Definitely, I had a good time filling in and giving my takes on it. It's always a good time. This is like my second family now.
Right. You're right. You are. So we'll definitely have you back when Ron is back too. So it can be Ron squared.
There you go.
The dynamic duo. This has been amazing. I had a great time chatting with you guys today. To all of our viewers, make sure you are back next week, same time, same place, but we will be here recapping episode 8 of Raising Kanan. So on that note, we are going to call it a night, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.